Okay, so this is Reverend Sean of the Center Path, and I'm coming up with kind of a new thing. I did a poll a little while ago. I did that on Reddit, I did that on Facebook, and I think I did that like here on YouTube. I can't remember. But one of the things I was asking is, what do people want to see? Do they want to see how to use Buddhism in daily practice, or guided meditations, or different Dharma studies, or do they want to talk about chanting or whatever? And the vast majority did say guided meditations, which I'm working on. That's a lot of work, so I'll get back to you on those soon, I hope. And those will have some kind of just simple background and maybe some music in the background. We'll do some guided meditations like the Metta Bhavana, right? We'll do that one. We'll do loving kindness. We'll do other ones to develop empathy and compassion and sympathetic joy and even equanimity. Okay, so we're going to go over some of those. And that brings us to what's called the four Brahma Viharas. Last video I did talk about the Brahma, right, and how he has four faces, and those exemplify also not only being able to see in all directions, but also those four Brahma Viharas. And what are Brahma Viharas? Brahma means like it's the creator god of Hinduism, or one of the creator gods of Hinduism. And so in that, Buddhism took like adopted those concepts because they're so good and they can really be used with anybody. And what are those four Brahma Viharas? It's going to be loving kindness, development of loving kindness. When we develop loving kindness, we develop civility, we develop empathy, we develop the ability to be kinder and see things better. Okay, the second one is compassion. Compassion is important to develop because we develop compassion, then we can understand what other people are going through, and we can understand things like why does a rabbit act that way when I get around it? Why do people act this way when I get around them? Not necessarily it's from me, it's from their conditioning and their existence and their realities, right? So we need to have that in our hearts and understand that. For example, today I teach at a psychiatric hospital. I teach mindfulness for for mental health, and we had some kids, and 12 to 18 years old. And in this wing, there was a big kerfuffle. We call it a staff assist, where something happens and everybody has to run in there, and you have to get everybody away from some person who's usually having some kind of upset. I get in there, there was crayons all over the floor, there was papers everywhere, and like three or four staff members were surrounding this little kid, and they were like, trying to calm her down, and she's like, I don't want to be here, and really freaking out. So the idea is to get everybody else out of the area, and so they put me in one side, and they had another therapist go to the other side, and we split the room, and I ended up with two students or patients, whatever, and one of them was super disruptive, and you could tell very upset by this thing and just didn't want to talk to anybody. And we were trying to do meditation because that's what I'm there for. Nobody else wanted to do the meditation, so we just kind of like sat and chatted. And they had one of those poppy things, and it became very annoying to me, but I had to really pull myself back from being upset at some poor person who's sick, right? And understand that they have something going on with them. So I had to develop and really tune into that empathy for someone and feeling like understanding, because I understand what it's like to be upset like that. I was a kid too at once. I was a 14-year-old person, and I want to be like more attentive to that and proactive and help them understand the world. Because if you look at the way the mind really is, it's kind of like in video games, you have a map, and some of the map just isn't explored yet when you're at those lower levels. Well, this person's only at level 14, and so they've only expanded into some little areas of this map. If they go too far into areas where someone like me, who's a level 58, for example, that's my age, but a level 58, then we have like harder challenges and harder boss battles and not good tools and stuff like that, so you don't succeed. But these poor kids are forced to be in these worlds that they're not really prepared for, and my job is to try to prepare them with meditation. So number one is compassion. We do the Metta Bhavana, may I be free from suffering, may I be free from worry, etc. And that's one of the first ones I'll do as a guided meditation. And the second one is Karuna, compassion. And compassion is to develop that kind of like understanding, of others suffering too, and be kind and be gentle towards them, and be with them with that, and understand it from a deeper level. And then the third one is sympathetic joy. So when something goes good, we're happy too. And that's the idea, and that's a different kind of guided meditation, which is very important because we often see other people succeed and we're jealous and we get upset. And even if it's something that we have nothing to do with, we don't want it anyway, we're still like, like sour grapes kind of thing. But there weren't even our grapes. We weren't even trying to get grapes. It's one of those kind of stories, and we need to develop that as an effective, practical person who's practicing Buddhism. Remember, we're not trying right now to become all enlightened and find nirvana and all this kind of, be one and non-dual and all this kind of stuff. That's all up here stuff. That's not this. That is not this. It is eventually. But right now, we need to get used to our own lives and our own bodies, and that way we can start to see and understand. When we sit in meditation, for example, we become still. That's the idea. When you become still, you begin to see. When you begin to see, you start to understand. You develop wisdom, right? And then you can make the proper decisions about yourself, your own mind, and even other people's mind. And that's how we develop that stuff. They constantly speak of, in the sutras, the Buddha vision and the Buddha understanding and the Buddha traveling and all these kind of things. And that's the awakened seeing, the awakened movement, the awakened understanding. Doesn't mean the guy necessarily went there or thought these things. It does, but it's still also teaching us to be practical. Remember that. That's hard, on people. And the fourth of the Brahma Viharas is equanimity. Really understanding that it's all interconnected. It's all basically, equanimity means seeing that everything is equal, but it's also seeing that interdependence, right? And that realization that I'm just like you, you're just like me. I'm not above you, I'm not below you. We're the same. We're human, right? I'm a creature. I'm a being on this world. I want to be free from suffering into the next moment. My dog wants to be free from suffering into the next moment. That bird, that dragonfly, whatever it is, that tree wants to have less suffering into the next moment. That's from my teacher Dao Yuan. He that's one of the things he would say is well, now what? Right? That was one of his famous sayings to me. Is, well, now what? So what? Now what? How are you getting from this moment to the next one with less suffering? How are you helping someone else get from this moment to the next one with a little bit less suffering? So that's my whole spiel today. It's on the 4 Brahma Viharas, right? Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment if you want more information on the same kind of stuff, because I can go into each one a little more detailed. But remember, the 4 Brahma Viharas are: number 1 is compassion, that's Metta. The number 2 is Karuna, which is Metta is loving kindness. Compassion is Karuna, right? And the third one, Upeksa, what is it? Upeksa? No, Mudita, which is sympathetic joy, and Upeksa is Upeksa. Upeksa is equanimity. So anyway, hope you guys are well. There's 8 minutes. That's what I get. Talk to you soon. Take care. Let me know how you're doing. And thanks for the other notes. I did get some notes from you guys. Thank you so much.